Περνάμε στους καινούριους, στην τελευταία εισήγηση αυτής της πρώτης συνεδρίας, της σημερινής. Είναι ο καθηγητής Μανουέλ Castiñeras, καθηγητής Ιστορίας Μεσαιωνικής Τέχνης από το Autònoma Πανεπιστήμιο της Βαρκελόνης, και ο κύριος Miguel Gallés M.Magrí, υποψήφιος διδάκτορας από το Autònoma Πανεπιστήμιο της Βαρκελόνης, φροντίζοντας για το περιβόλι της Παναγίας δύο καινούργιες εικόνες της Θεοτόκου από το Άγιον Όρος. You welcome for your talk is in English, right?
Yeah.
Can you hear me? Okay. So you welcome here from Barcelona, and we are ready to listen to your presentation. Thank you very much for being here.
Ευχαριστώ πολύ. Καλημέρα σας. Συγγνώμη, αλλά θα μιλήσουμε αγγλικά.
Okay.
This paper is focused into unpublished past Byzantine icons of the Mother of God belonging to a private collection in Barcelona. Both depictions seem to be very related to the 18th century Athonite icon painting. In the first case, this is a very specific iconographic type originated in Vatopedi monasteries, and monastery are known as Panagia Paramithia. The second refers to a peculiar and imposing odigitria, whose stylistic and iconographic features are very similar to the 18th century icon painting, which is kept in the monastery of Pantocrator. As far as the first icon is concerned, the Panagia Paramithia, its legend is very renowned and is rooted in the numerous pirates that Vatopedi monasteries suffered in the late Middle Ages. According to the tradition, a mural depiction of the Mother of God, which was located in the Catholicon, wished to warn the abbot of the imminent danger posed by pirates, who had secretly landed on the shore of the monastery in order to loot it. The son, aware of the sinful nature of the humans, in this case the monks, made a gesture of preventing his mother from sending the warning to those who don't deserve it. But the Holy Virgin, taking her son's hands in hers, didn't hesitate to repeat the warning to the abbot and save the monastery from looting. As a result, the depiction in Vatopedi was miraculously transformed into a new Acheropita image, known as Panagia I Paramithia, Holy Mother of Consolation. Originally located in the outer wall of the chapel of St. Nicholas in the Catholicon, this image was removed and transformed into a portable icon and relocated in the small chapel of the Paramithia, built in the 17th century. Later, in 1858, the icon was covered with a luxurious silver plate coating, in which an inscription names it as Iconos tis Paramithia. In comparison with the Acheropita painting in Vatopedi, the small icon that we are analyzing stands out due to the spontaneous freshness in the attitude of the mother and the imposing gesture of the child. For that reason, the icon is worth being rescued and studied. In this panel, the composition becomes very elongated due to the measures of the board. This explains that the upper part leaves a large surface to display a gilded background which is filled with two white halos with their outlines simply punched. It is very likely that the painter had only available this noble board at the time of the execution of the icon. However, the choice of an elongated shape for a devotional icon is typical of the 18th century post-Byzantine art. We have no doubt that the piece was carried out by a great iconographer master, probably among who was active in Vatopedi in the 18th century. At that time, the painting mural icon was still visible. This explains the accurate execution of the iconographic type, especially in details such as the gesture of Mary grasping the raised arm of her son, who tries to silence his mother with his hand. Furthermore, following the model, the painter also reproduced the nomina sacra of the mother of God, Mitir Theu, at the top, and that of the son on the right side in the cruciferous nimbus, on, egoimi, on, I am who I am. Like other icons of the same period, in which iconography is extensive applied to Mary's Maphorion and Jesus Hiton, the iconographer restricted the use of gold to the wrist end of the sleeve of the Virgin tunic. The rest of the fake gilding is simply made on a variant of yellow. Although this could be due to the limited resources of the painter, we must admit that this very limited use of gold is also characteristic of the original mural icon in Batopedi. Notwithstanding this icon presents some feature that distinguish it from the original model. Thus, the traditional distribution of the colors in Mary garments have been reversed. The mantle is blue while the tunic is red. It leads us to think of a Western influence which can be explained either by the knowledge of the Italian tradition techniques or by an access to a Western-like model. In fact, in some of the first depiction of this iconographic type in Cyprus and Crete, Mary wears a blue mantle, such as the icons of the monastery of Agios Chrysostomo at Kutsovendis in the 14th century, or in the magnificent scene of the new creation in the Akathystos cycle of the monastery of the Odegitria in Kenurgion, Crete, dated to the beginning of the 14th century. In all of them, both Maria Vasilakis and Papa Georgiou pointed out a depth to the Italian panel painting. Furthermore, other gestures, other features can be related to these first depictions, such as the blessing gesture of the child, which is also in Kenurgium, or the fact that the mother is directly looking at the believer, as in Kenurgium and Kutsuvendis. The analysis of these elements lead us to discuss the origin of this rare iconographic type. Ioannis Spatharakis baptized it the Virgin Kyrophilousa in order to highlight the fact that the Virgin is kissing the hand of the child. The oldest examples clearly are focused on this sweet gesture, the kissing of the hand. Although some scholars suggested French precedents for this kind of depiction, such as the paintings of the crypts in St. Catherine in Notre Dame de Montmorillon in France, there is no doubt on the Byzantine origins of this iconographic type. Thus, Sigaritas and Papadimitriou pointing out an 11th century example in the paintings of Hagia Sophia in Ahrida. According to these scholars, in this peculiar iconography might be related to the Passion cycle, in particular to the thrones of Mary on his dead son. So originally this tender gesture of grasping the hand expressed the sadness of the mother and prefigurate the Passion of Christ. How can we explain the process from the iconography from one iconography to another? We mean in which moment the so-called Virgin Kyrophilousa became the Batopedi Paramythia. Most of the authors consider that the original wall painting dated to the beginning of the 14th century, even though it's very likely that this icon was repainted in the 16th or 17th century. It is worth reminded that all the accounts relate to the miraculous icon, to a pirate attack which is dated either in the 9th century, when the monastery didn't exist, or in the 14th century. This latter seems to be the most probable context for the creation of the legend. This was really a troubled period in the history of Mount Athos, in which the great Catalan company sieged and looted several monasteries in the Holy Mountain, such as the great Labra, Hilandari, San Panteleimon, and the Saint Bartolomé, from its position in Cassandra during 1309. These events are perfectly described in the life of Saint Sabas the Younger, written by Philotheos Kokkinos, Patriarch of Constantinople. Fortunately, this turbulent period ended with the letter sent by James II, King of Aragon, in 1308, in which ordered the company to stop the raids in the Holy Mountain. It is very likely that in this particular context, the mural depiction of Quirofugiusa related to the miracle became object of veneration. In fact, the painting cycle of the Catholicon, dated in 1312, includes some scenes of the Virgin grasping the arm of the dead Christ that certify the knowledge of this signification, the knowledge of the signification of this gesture. As time goes by, the increasing cult of the miraculous image, especially after the construction of the chapel in the 17th century, fostered the copy of the Paramithia in the 18th and 19th centuries, as you can see. To redress the damage incurred, in 2005, the Catalan government, Generalitat, financed the reconstruction of the Treasury Tower at Batopedi. This particular contest encouraged us to study this extraordinary depiction of the Panagia Paramithia, which is currently kept in Barcelona.
Furthermore, at the same private collection, there is a second icon of the Mother of God, which is also related to Mount Athos. This is a lavishly gilded and large dimension icon depicting the Odegetria. Its dimensions, the frame, the positions of the characters, the treatment of the gilding, its delicate punching, as well as many other stylistic data, lead us to consider its possible Athonite origin. As we shall see further on, this image has some remarkable similarities with an icon which is currently kept in Pantocrator Monastery. We proceed then to its description. The first thing to drive our attention is the great predominance of the golden background that confers the icon a captivating brightness. To compare it with similar productions, we turn to look at the position of the characters as well as their clothing. This way, we can appreciate the verticality of Mary's body, who tilts her head towards the child as if looking at him, accompanying the gesture of her right hand, showing the way as she who points the way, a central feature of this image. As a result of this arrangement, the position of the eyes is leaning much to the right. This trait is enforced by the dark tones of the eyebrows, supraorbital arches, shadows, and eye bags. Thus, the whole face seems to range from severe seriousness to contained anger. The shape of the eyes accentuates this bizarre effect, probably looking for a certain rotational aspect of the look. The child is sitting, leaning on the left arm hand. Certainly, he looks like a young boy more than a child. Slightly turned to his mother, he looks up, looking for her gaze, while with his right hand he blesses the scene in reference to his double nature and the Trinity. She wears the characteristic red maphorion under which the corresponding blue tunic appears. He wears a beautiful chrysographed orange imation under which a plain white green chiton appears. In the upper part of the golden background, the inscriptions that indicate that the character is the Mother of God can be seen on the right and left. In this sense, calligraphy is going to be of help in making certain comparisons further on. The annotations on the halo of the child of similar calligraphy indicate that the character is Jesus Christ, and the initials inscribed on the cruciferous nimbus remind us that I am who I am. The halos of both characters are basically delimited by a double punched line on which groups of 3 points are superimposed. Those groups are sintamani. They are finely embossed to emphasize delicate tulip-shaped floral designs. Again, this should be of use to make some interesting approaches when comparing with other icons. Child's face is delicate and full of tenderness. The forehead is obviously highly developed and predominant. The facial features, which only occupy a small part of the head of the character, are in line with those of the mother and perfectly show the way of proceeding of the Macedonian school of the time. The curly hair profiles are delimited by delicate black lines, and the shell-like ears bring us closer to the models of the aforementioned school. For purposes of comparison with other works, it is worth highlighting an interesting detail: the evident fringe of hair that hangs over the forehead, not always present in this iconographic type and far from being so developed. It seems appropriate now to proceed to compare this icon with other Athonite productions and with some others that could have preceded the whole set to justify its presentation. In this sense, the first one that we are considering is the Virgin with Christ by priest Danilo in the Church of St. Nicholas in Kilander Monastery. Despite the obvious differences, a school workshop way of doing can be clearly appreciated. Much the same can be said of the Odigitria at the Stauronikita Monastery. These two icons seem to be clearly related. Not so obviously is the case with the precious image attributed to Dionysius of Furna in the holy monastery of Agio-Pavlou. Of course, there are quite remarkable similarities, such as those that appear in the treatment and arrangement of the hands, but there are also obvious differences. But the Athonite icon that most reminds us the icon under study is Our Lady Odegetria in the holy monastery of Pantocrator. This is an icon that is remarkably similar to the one that we are studying. We think convenient to highlight 3 items: the size, dimensions, the calligraphy, and the treatment of the hands. Regarding the size, the resemblance is enormous: 68/46 and 68/43, the one of Pantocrator. As for the calligraphy, there are obvious similarities, and the design of the inscriptions that refer to the Mother of God is worth noting. And as regards to the design and treatment of the hands, it is worth remembering what has just been said above regarding the icon of Dionysius in Agio-Pavlou. As for the previous masterworks that could have led to the achievements just mentioned, we would like to underline the magnificent icon in Byzantine and Christian Museum by Andreas Ritsos. Many of the pictorial features of this icon take us to suggest that it may have preceded as an individual icon or as a sample of an icon workshop in a time and a place, the Mount Athos icons to which we have referred. Likewise, the icon of the Panagia Odigitria of an unknown Cretan painter at the Hellenic Institute in Venice may provide some clues. And finally, the 17th century Greek icon in a private Swiss collection, in addition to other similarities, features an ornamentation of the alus that is highly reminiscent of the delicate tulip-shaped floral designs previously mentioned. With our presentation, we want to underline the importance of the cult of the Mother of God in the Holy Mountain and some of the original iconographic types produced indeed in its monasteries. Doing that, we are simply carrying Mary's garden and preserving its memory and priceless heritage from the other shore of the Mediterranean. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much for your wonderful presence here in our event. And I would ask if somebody is going to have any question. Mr. Semoglu. Mr. Semoglu.
Okay.
Okay. Κύριε Semoglu, ακούμε.
Okay, thank you. I want to thank very much the colleague and friend Manuel Castiñeras, and also his student, I think, Miguel Gallés, for this very interesting and beautiful presentation. Really, it was very interesting for us, these two icons, which are in a private collection in Barcelona. Is that true?
Yeah,
it's true. It's true. It's true.
As I have seen the Paramithia, the first icon, it was very interesting and not a very usual feature. In the front, the Maphorion, the very big star which occupies all the front of Maphorion, which is not so. We don't see that detail very usually in this, for example, yes, in the iconography. And also it gives the impression of a stereometrical archetype, you know, in the front of the Maphorion. And this could also lead me, well, when I saw this icon, I thought that it could be, for example, a kind of Russian icon of 18th century. But it is very, very, very interesting, this stereometrical front of the sun, this sun front Maphorion. But I was convinced very much by your presentation and by your comparisons for that.
Thank you very much, Thanasis. You are right. This is really, really very rare, this kind of star or sun on the Maphorion. So I would like to expand on this topic for the publication. Okay. Yeah. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Manuel.
Is there another question from somebody? If there's not, I would like to stay. I mean to make to give a note.
Ο κύριος Χρυσοχοΐδης πέρα.
Yes. Ναι. Κύριε Χρυσοχοΐδη, σας ακούμε. Κύριος Χρυσοχοΐδης, ακούει? Μάλλον δεν ακούει. Δεν ξέρω. Τι να κάνω, να πατήσω το χέρι.
Yes. Now you can hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much for your extremely interesting presentation, and surprised just to have such icons, such subjects in Barcelona. A question: did you see you connected the story, the legend of the icon with the Catalan expedition on Mount Athos?
So I have been reading about the origin of the legend of the Paramithia. So I found that there is one written legend in some of accounts of the visits of the travelers to Mount Athos about this legend related to the Arabs, no? But located in the 9th century. So it's like, trying to invent antiquity for Vatopedi. But there is this second legend related to the Catalan attacks and raids in the area that we have very well documented, even with letters and with description and with chronicles. So I think that because most of the authors thought or thinks that the original mural icon could be from the 14th century, but repainted in the 16th or 17th century, that the most probable context for the legend could be at the beginnings of the 14th century, related to the raids and as well related probably with the iconography program of Vatopedi in that time, because in 1312 we have the magnificent frescoes in the church would be related with that. I have not proof because I have not access to all the legends. I would like to expand on this.
Referring to the legends, these legends of Vatopedi are some stories in the cycle of patriographic texts of Mount Athos. But especially for this icon, for this wall painting of Paramithia, we must sure that it's not the original place. You know that.
No, I know.
Yes,
I know.
We know that, and we know exactly that at least at the end of 15th century.
Okay, wonderful.
And in the very early 16th century, they venerated in the place where it was, and the icon had also a prosmonarios. Prosmonarios is a monk, a priest monk, better, who serves the icon and make the services in front of the icon every day. He's the keeper of this.
Okay.
Of this miraculous icon. So we know the name of the man at about 1500. So that means that it's not something new. The veneration,
Okay.
It had to be many years before. So, so we have now the expression of these venerations.
Okay, this is a wonderful information, Gideon. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for the information. This is wonderful, but it means that the icon, the cult of the icon is previous, probably 14th century, because the problem with this type is that this type is not very ancient. So it could be that. Sigaritas mentioned that it should be explore the layer of painting. If this painting is really 16 or there is some layers of painting before under the icon. This is a very interesting question, I think. But I think that 14th century is the most, for the legend, is the most best period. And it's very interesting, the cult, because in one of the accounts, is as well mentioned all the cult related with this mural icon. So thank you very much. Aristopoli, Sinobi.
So, Mr. President, we have a test question from Mr. Dimitris Yagoudis. It's I think it's more something like a notice and not a text. So Mr. Yagoudis wrote, In the case of the Οδηγήτρια, the second icon that was presented, you made a comparison with an icon in a private Swiss collection. I would like to add that a similarity is also present at the eyes, even though in the Swiss find they are not as stern and strict.
Sorry, I did not perfectly understand the question. What precisely is the question referred to the Swiss icon?
As I told you, it's not like a question, it's a notice.
Okay, yes, you really said.
Yes. So, Mr. President, you can continue.
Okay, so I was about to say that since you mentioned the interest of Generalitat de Catalunya for financing the project, the restoration project in Vatopedi, we have here a surprise because we have the man, a Catalan songwriter, Josep Teru, from whom started the whole thing. So I will show you this. This is the
wonderful.
The CD. And he started the whole thing, and he was inspired by another holy icon of Vatopedi, which is the εσφαγμένη, η πληγωμένη εικόνα. So we can listen to this song. I read for the Greek public, in Greek, the Catalan word translated by me, okay? Πόση αγάπη τρεμουλιάζει στις αιμάτινες σταγόνες που σταλάζουν από το λαιμό σου. Τόση αγάπη που η καρδιά μου δεν κουράζεται απόλυτα να σ' αγαπάει και πάνω απ' όλα. Σου το έχισαν το αίμα, σου το στράγγισαν οι μαχαιριές του μίσους, της εκδίκησης. Γι' αυτό και στέκουμε εδώ σκοπιά να σε φυλάμε, μάνα του Χριστού, και να σε παρηγορούμε. Σε τόσους δρόμους της Ευρώπης, σε τόσα κέντρα, σε τόσες πολιτείες αυτού του κόσμου, εκείνος που δεν σε γνώρισε, εκείνος και σε πληγώνει. Εκείνος που να σε δει δεν μπόρεσε στα βάσανα των ανθρώπων. Κι ούτε στα λυπημένα εκείνα μάτια των μανάδων που έχασαν το σπλάχνο τους, όμοια με σένα, και γαλήνιες τώρα ορθώνονται, αδελφώνονται πλήρης αγάπης, τόσο όμοιες με σένα.
Ευχαριστώ πολύ. Πολύ καλά. Πολύ ωραία.
So we're going to listen to the song. Music and lyrics by Giuseppe Teru.
Could you please close your presentation?
Yes.
Me, myself.
Okay.
La sang d'un regalimal que meu cor no s'esgota d'estimar-vos per damunt de tot. Us l'han fet passar en cada gota els punyals de l'odi i el rancor. Per això som aquí, ai Senyora, per guardar-vos, per dar-vos conhort. En molts de carrers d'aquesta Europa, en moltes ciutats d'arreu del món, us fareix només qui us ignora, qui no us ha pogut mai veure enlloc, ni en els desolats ulls de les mares que han perdut el fill talment com vos. I serenes s'alcen, s'agermanen i amoroses s'us assemblen molt.